I've had a lot of family stuff to deal with that I won't go into on YouTube. Today I thought I'd make a video discussing Wheel of Fortune and my memories of the Wheel of Fortune that I myself grew up with in the 90s and the 2000s. In case you don't know Wheel of Fortune, it was an American game show, and I believe it still is an American show. I believe America is still running it, but I'm not entirely sure. But it was a show in Australia from 1981 until about 2005 or 6, and it had four hosts: Ernie Siegley, John Burgess, Tony Barber, and Rob Elliott, and I believe three co-hosts: Adriana Xenidis, who is my favourite, Sophie Faulkner, and can't remember the name of the last one. I think it was someone called Carrie Friend, but I'm not entirely sure on this one. But if you guys in the YouTube community could maybe help me out with identifying the third hostess, I would be eternally grateful. But I'm more interested in sort of the mid 90s up to about 1990. When Adriana Pack gave it up because of her failing health. My memories of Wheel of Fortune are watching it on weekday afternoons at about 5:30, and actually, funny story. There was one episode I remember watching. Me, my mother, and my sisters, we were on holiday in Queenscliff, and my sisters and my mother went to get fish and chips, which were only down the road from the Queenscliff holiday house. And they left me in the house because it was like a 5-minute walk and the TV was on. And you know what kids and TV are like. Give a kid a TV, they won't even notice that you're gone. And yeah, I was watching Wheel of Fortune and there was this really idiotic contestant, right? Every chance she got to solve the puzzles, she got it wrong. She'd take the chance to solve the puzzle, and she'd get it completely wrong. And I, not surprisingly, she ended up losing the main game, so she didn't get to the prize round, the major prize round, which is what they have at the end of every episode. They have a major prize wheel where the winning contestant who won the main game has the chance to spin up a prize. It might be a holiday, it might be a car, it might be an electrical appliance, it might be vouchers to the movies or something. It could have been anything. And yeah, a lot of the time I think the pressure got to the contestant that got to the final round, and they'd end up screwing up the puzzle and not getting the major prize. After all that hard work to get to the final round in the first place, and they choked. That, oh my god! I can only imagine the shame that they would have felt to fall down at the last hurdle and not get the prize. But yeah, that's a key memory I have of Wheel of Fortune because it was just so long-winded trying to get the contestants to solve the puzzles sometimes. And as well, they had there was a little bell towards the end of the game, and the host to get to spin the wheel, and what that host spun up is what they'd be playing for. It might be $200, it might be $60, it might even be top dollar, although to my knowledge I don't think that's ever happened. At least not in the Australian one anyway. But specifically, I got to thinking of Adriana Xenidis over the last couple of days and how much I used to like her as a kid and even into my teenage years in my 20s. And yeah, I just randomly went on a nostalgia trip and just typed in Wheel of Fortune to YouTube and started watching a couple of episodes from 1994, 3 or 4. And there was this one contestant, like, she over exaggerated everything and just got a bit, like, way too excited. Like, she was way too excited. I think she was overly excited about the fact that she was on TV, and she didn't realize that she maybe needed to turn it down a bit. And it was just so funny to watch. I found myself cracking up whenever she was on the screen, and it was just so funny. And the carryover champion, which is if you win that particular day of wheel, you get to come back the next day and the next day and the next week, or until you end up losing. And this carryover champ, I think her name was Kerry. When they were doing round 1, she ended up with 3 free spins. A free spin is where if you like land on lose turn, you get the wrong letter, you get to use a free spin and retain control of spinning the wheel. But it only works for that certain round, as she never got to use all of her 3 free spins. I think she only used like 2 of them. And yeah, but one of the things I liked about Wheel of Fortune, and I still do like it, is that it's a lot more skill based. Like, you have to actually think, and we didn't see that, like, at least on Australian TV until the Chase Australia started in last year. I think it was last year, yeah. But with Wheel of Fortune, you didn't just automatically get the money. You had to think fast and guess the letter and solve the puzzle, and it was great fun. I certainly enjoy watching it, and I still do enjoy watching it. And it is a shame that I can't get my hands on any physical copies of episodes on VHS or anything. Not that I haven't been trying, but it's just that once they've put it on YouTube, I guess people uploading them aren't keeping them. Like, they aren't keeping the tapes or the DVDs, which is a real shame, because I would love to have some Wheel of Fortune to add to my archive, which is that shelf behind me. I'm getting more shelving for this room soon. Like, it depends on when I can find the shelving and when I can get someone to help me move it in. But I would have liked to have some Wheel of Fortune for my archive, but I guess it's just not meant to be. And anyway, when I was a teenager, I'd basically forgotten all about Adriana until about 2000 I think it was 2009? 2000, might have even been 2008. Anyway, I was at home recovering from extensive leg surgery due to my disability, and I couldn't go home, I couldn't go to school, I couldn't go out, I couldn't do anything. And when you're a teenager, when you can't do anything, you're like stuck in the house, you go on YouTube and you start looking up stuff. Like, it may be stuff that you grew up with, or maybe stuff that people are recommending to you, but I typed in Wheel of Fortune to YouTube one day just to see what was on there, and a clip from 1990 came up, which is John Burgess and Adriana Xenidis. So I watched it, and I just remembered how much I used to love Wheel as a kid. And yeah, in 2009, I set about trying to track down Adriana Xenidis, who by this stage was nearing the end of her life. And I got in contact with a friend of hers, who is now also passed away, rest in peace. So I got in contact with a friend of hers, and he passed on my note to Adriana, and about, I think it was a month or 2 months later, I got a response from her, and she sent me this really long reply, basically telling me, "Oh, I hope you keep writing and performing with your band," because I was in a band for school at the time, and I'd written a song about it. And so she basically said to me in this email, "I hope you keep writing and performing," and she told me that she wanted to sing, but she couldn't hold a tune to "Happy Birthday," which is pretty cool, knowing that not everyone's perfect. And yeah, she told me that one day, this is probably back in like the 80s or the very early 90s, she was filming a fashion show, and she sang "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend," which was made famous by Marilyn Monroe. Like, I'm sure you've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Like, who hasn't heard of Marilyn Monroe? Um, yeah, and apparently she'd forgotten to turn off the mic and mind the words, and she full on ended up singing the words, and she was just so embarrassed because, um, yeah, like, she she wasn't the strongest singer, and she was just so embarrassed that she never turned off the mic, but everyone gave her like standing ovation and made her feel so much better about herself. So yeah, that was pretty cool to learn something about that. I had sent her a friend request on Facebook because, like I said, I was friends with a friend of hers, and he was trying to get her on Facebook, and sadly she died before she could add me. But the sort of eerie coincidence about when she died, like at the time she died, I think it was about 5:30 on the 7th of June 2010. I was just sitting in my room listening to my boombox, like my old CD player, and at that exact same time as she died, my CD player cut out. Like, I couldn't get it to work at all. I'm not even joking. Like, even the tape part of it wouldn't work. Like, it was just so eerie. I was creeped out. I was creeped out for weeks after that, and I look back at it now, and it's sort of like her spirit had gotten into my CD player and sort of said goodbye to me, which is creepy but awesome. So it's creepy awesome. Uh, yeah. So that's my memories of Australian Wheel of Fortune. Maybe you guys on YouTube have memories of Australian Wheel of Fortune, or indeed Wheel of Fortune in any of the other countries that it used to air. Like, I would like to hear back from you guys. So yeah, peace out.